keys to Brian Peden Sr.'s son, Brian Jr. Instead of just listening to the radio, he took a friend for a joyride that ended in tragedy.
Order, all rise. Judges number 54 in the matter of Peterson Martin versus Puritan. You see it.
Tragic case. Read the papers. Let me see if I can summarize it. Miss Martin, you bought your son a car, and he lent the keys to the car to his friend over here while they were at school. He says he lent the keys to his friend just to sit in the car, listen to music. This young man over here took the car to do some tricks with it someplace with a friend. There was a tragic accident, and the friend was killed. So far, is that correct? And now you're suing Mr. Peden for the damage that was done to the car. Correct?
Correct.
You two people have your sons. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of this case yet. I certainly hope that I don't have to after reading your complaint. This is one of those terrible tragedies that you see in newspapers, terrible gruesome pictures that you see with teenage kids driving all the time when they act irresponsibly. But you two people are standing here with the luxury of having your boy standing next to you. Dead boys' parents don't have that luxury. And quite frankly, I can't believe that you can't find some way to resolve this case financially with the understanding that you two people are probably the luckiest two people in this room today because you have your sons. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes. With that in mind, I want you two people to go outside. Because based upon what I see here, neither one of your two sons was blameless in this incident. Now, I may be wrong, because I haven't heard the evidence yet. But neither of them were blameless. According to your papers, sir, you just lent them the keys to sit in the car. That was a mistake. Because once you let somebody have the keys to a car, whether it be another teenager or whether it be a 6-year-old, a tragedy can always happen. So that was irresponsible. And by doing what you did, I don't think that anybody has to tell you that that was not only irresponsible, but tragic. So your son, too, acted irresponsibly. Go outside. I'm going to recall this case in a few minutes. Talk to each other.
Parties are excused. Step out. This case will be recalled. I guess we're supposed to work it out.
Well, I would like to work it out.
Let's see.
Brian, I don't hate you.
Court is ready, Judge.
I'm slacking now, but Adam goes to work, and he comes home and he hands me his whole paycheck that goes to pay for a car that he can't use anymore.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
He hugged my son at the funeral, and he said, "I'm so sorry, man. I'll do anything I can to make it up to you." They cried. It was tragic, and actions speak louder than words, and I have yet to see anything toward restitution for the car.
Lori Ann Peterson Martin's son, Adam, gave his car keys to Brian Peden Sr.'s son, Brian Jr. Instead of just listening to the radio, he took a friend for a joyride that ended in tragedy.
Have you been able to reach a resolution?
No, we haven't. Arguments over the value of the car, really.
All right. You two boys sit down for a minute. Just step here, please. Mr. Peden, the criminal charges are still pending against your son?
Yes.
Well, that inhibits me in certain ways. it would be difficult for me to take his testimony. Don't know what's going to happen with the criminal case. I certainly wouldn't place him in jeopardy by having him give sworn testimony that could possibly be used against him in a criminal proceeding. I assume you've spoken to your lawyer about that?
Yes.
And he's explained that to you?
Yes.
Quite frankly, I don't think that the facts in this case are too much in dispute. Please stop me if I'm wrong. I don't think
That's really the value of the car. There was major damage to the car prior to the accident. I was fully aware of it.
That's what he said.
Her son and mine had been in my driveway for 12 hours trying to repair the damage so that she
It
was
was
not aware of the
only
damage
the
to the
outside
car.
of the car, the outside. Adam had rear-ended someone.
I saw a lot more damage to the
hood,
car than that.
Except I took it to a body shop. They said $1,800 to make it pretty. Again, realize that it's a Mitsubishi. It was 91. It had a lot more miles on the everything. He's telling me that he has a dune buggy that's worth $2,000 that needs fixed up. That's worth $2,000, and he's claiming my car is $500. That doesn't.
Well, let me ask you this question. How much of a responsibility do you think that your son has?
My son is out $4,000 if he collects $35 from these people.
He is not going to collect $3,500 from the defendants. What I asked you was, what responsibility do you think your son has for starting this chain of events? He started it. He turned over keys, whatever he said.
I disagree with you.
Well, but I'm telling you, you are mistaken.
This boy approached my son and said, may I borrow the car keys? You have to realize that there is a pattern of behavior here. This boy sat in my son's car time and time and time again. This was not a one-time thing. I have a written testimony from another boy that said he sat in his car over and over and never stole his car because Brian is not a licensed driver.
I'm not suggesting that he is at fault in this death. What I'm suggesting to you is that you are mistaken when you say he did not start a chain of events by acting irresponsibly so that he has some culpability.
I believe that is why he is getting hit for $4,000. He is eating that. He paid $75 for the car, did not buy the car for him. He is going to work. He hands his whole paycheck over to me, and that's not fair because he wrecked it. He just paid another $150 toll
What I'm
bill to
asking,
get it out of the crime
what I'm
lab.
asking you, Ms. Peterson, is let us assume your suit asks for how much?
$3,500.
$3,500. What I'm suggesting to you is, and what I was hoping that you would do, each of you go outside and decide that since each of your sons was irresponsible in their actions, and I'm not talking about the criminal case. That's a tragedy. There's no way that this young man intended to cause the death of somebody else. He just acted like an idiot, right? That you somehow share those expenses. You don't expect him to pay all those expenses. I'm telling you right now that I wouldn't order it.
Brian said that he was going to give Adam a dune buggy, and we waited for 4 or 5 months, and that never happened. We never saw $1 from Brian toward restitution for any, he said, he hugged my son at the funeral, and he said, I'm so sorry, man, I'll do anything I can to make it up to you. They cried. It was tragic, and actions speak louder than words, and I have yet to see anything toward restitution for the car.
My understanding is that our sons worked out a deal where my son would give her son this dune buggy that he has.
But the father never
That was
contacted
acceptable to
me.
me in that.
How would I have known that?
I don't know. This is something the boys are working out. I assume they had it worked out until you presented your lawsuit to me.
Well, do you have, where's the dune buggy?
It's in Reno.
And when my son asked him a few
Just a
times to
second.
get it,
It's in Reno,
Yes, that's where we're from.
and it's drivable?
Yes.
no,
The dune buggy.
it's not drivable.
Is it?
Yes.
What's wrong with the transmission?
I don't know. I think the shifter was broken up. Last I know, my son had fixed it, and he drove the car.
He
Where did
drives it.
Where did
He doesn't drive it now because I don't allow him to, but he had been driving the car.
He was
Move
unlicensed.
over. I'm not going to ask you anything about this case that's pending. You have a dune buggy?
Yes, I do.
Is it drivable?
Yes, it is.
And it's where now?
It's in my backyard, but the transmission is worn out, and it is drivable, but for it to be a reliable car, it would require a new transmission, which I do have.
You have what?
I have a transmission to replace the one that is old
How much
and
will
worn.
it cost to put this dune buggy in working order so that he'll have a car?
I could do it at home for just a matter of transmission mounts, which would probably be no more than a few $100.
And he's
Okay,
had
and
for
are you
5
pro-
months to do that.
Are you prepared to make sure that dune buggy gets to them within the next 2 weeks?
Yes.
Fine.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
This case is not relevant. The $3,500 is not relevant. The damage to the car is not relevant. I don't understand why you two people are not kissing the ground that you wake up on every day that you have your two sons.
Lori Ann Peterson Martin's son, Adam, gave his car keys to Brian Peden Sr.'s son, Brian Jr. Instead of just listening to the radio, he took a friend for a joyride that ended in tragedy.
Well, you see, you did work it out. After a fashion, it may not have been worked out to the satisfaction of Mrs. Peterson, but it certainly worked out to my satisfaction. You, young man, made a tragic mistake. You're never going to do it again. You turned over the car keys to somebody, and you had no right to do that. You knew he was an unlicensed driver. If your friend wanted to sit in your car, and all he wanted to do was sit in your car, then you open up the car door and say, sit in it, and then you're a good buddy. Nobody will ever find out. Actually, I mean, I can hear both of your testimony, which I find, quite frankly, considering the death in this case, totally irrelevant about whether you told him you could turn it on and listen to the radio or not, or what happened. It's not relevant. The $3,500 is not relevant. The damage to the car is not relevant. I don't understand why you two people are not kissing the ground that you wake up on every day that you have your two sons.
Because
the boys worked it out.
No, they didn't. Nothing happened in 5 months.
Now it's going to happen because I'm entering a judgment. And the judgment of this court is absolutely consistent with what these two boys worked out themselves. You have the dune buggy. You're going to put it in operable order. I want you to make sure of that, sir. You assure me that you're going to do that?
I'll do that.
He takes it. He'll fix it. Whoever fixes it, I want you to take it to a mechanic and make sure that it's in good running order so that you will have a car. And I expect you, when you're entrusted with this vehicle, to keep it safe, not turn it over to anybody else. I don't think you're going to do that again. Was that the arrangement that you had worked out within the exchange of this dune buggy?
Yeah.
Yes. That's the judgment of the court. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Let's excuse. Step out, please.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Bell versus Dematoff. Step up, please.
Alexis Bell says she was not only unfairly fired, but wasn't paid. Greg Dematoff says she was fairly fired, and she was paid.
Ms. Bell, the defendant is your former employer, and according to your complaint, you were discharged, and they owe you salary and or commission in the amount of $750.
Correct.
Tell me about it.
I started employment in April of '96. I was interviewed by the company. I believe he's the manager.
What kind of business is it?
It's a company that sells or distributes alarm systems for Protection One.
Okay. And what were you supposed to do?
I telemarketed those alarms to companies, businesses, and residents.
Okay. So you were hired on salary and commission?
No, I was hired on salary versus commission.
What does that mean?
Means that if you don't make a certain amount of commission that meets that salary, then you'll get the salary instead of the commission, whichever's greater.
Okay. And what was the base salary then?
The base salary was $750.
Okay. You started working in April of '96.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Then during my course of employment, I had some minor setbacks. I was discharged from my employment for making personal phone calls, many personal phone calls, and also disrespecting employees.
So you were terminated. In what month were you terminated?
May of '96.
So you worked there a month?
Approximately a month, yeah.
Okay.
Then after that, I was interviewed by the same person, the manager that interviewed me during my interview in the beginning, and they told me that that the vice president, Terry Cattermole, wanted to relieve me of my duties, so instead he had Dana Clark relieve me of my duties.
You were let go within a month.
Correct.
How much were you paid?
I was only paid, my first check I received $60, which is the first sale I made. And the second check I never received because I was in jail at the time for traffic tickets.
So the second check was for how much?
For $80.
Okay. So those were commissions.
Correct.
So, well, this $80, the defendant says that he may owe you.
Right.
At most he owes you $80, but not $750, because what you're suing for is a month's salary.
Correct.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How many weeks did you actually work there?
I actually worked 4 weeks.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Yes, it's correct.
Well, was it your agreement that she received $750 base salary?
That is something we will do initially for a week, maybe 2, when someone is getting started. As far as doing sales, what you need is to cover your downtime. And she did, and we paid her. I have here records of pay and records of commissions, and that she was paid on all those. And The only dispute being that $80, which is a check she received. She then sent her mother to cash the check. We did not authorize someone else to cash the check at the currency exchange. That is the only dispute. All the checks were issued that she is owed.
How many checks did you issue?
2.
For how much?
There was the $80 one and the previous.
And the $60 one?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to her $750 a month salary?
No, it's on a weekly. First, it's a weekly salary. First of all, when we start someone, we initially...
You give them $750 a week?
No.
Now, that's what I thought. It was $750 a month. She worked there for 4 weeks. Correct?
We terminate. That is not something... Yes, it is correct. You are correct.
Well, if she worked there for 4 weeks...
It's not a monthly... What I wanted to make clear is it's not a monthly salary. It's a weekly salary.
Well, how much did you pay her a week?
$250.
$250 a week?
Yeah, it was $250. And that...
Just a second. $250 a week?
That is $1,000, yes.
Is $1,000?
Yes.
So then you owe her... She's only suing for $750. You should have given
So
her $1,000.
we're getting a bargain, right?
That's what I mean.
No, the thing is that the salary... the salary was terminated, okay? And
After
then she went
4
to
weeks?
straight... No, before then.
Well, how many weeks, according to your records, did she actually work for you?
She worked for us for 4 weeks. The salary versus commission was only in effect for the initial period.
What initial period?
1 week.
Who did somebody tell you that?
No, ma'am, they didn't.
Are you making this up as you go along,
No,
sir?
we notified... That's harsh. We
No,
know...
it's not harsh at all. What happened to $750?
Okay.
Or $1,000, according to your figures of $250 a week?
On top of this whole situation,
But that gives her more.
this is not even my supervisor or...
Listen, you're a representative of this company.
That
is
is
that why
correct,
you're here?
yes.
What is
Yes.
your role in this company?
Telemarketing manager.
Mr. Demadoff,
Yes.
$750 is what you promised her. You paid her $60. So, sir, write out a check to her.
Can I-
$690, which is what you owe her, because that was your agreement. That's all.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
Step forward, please.
Phyllis Bowie was engaged to be married to Franklin Miller. Now she's calling in the loans.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, it's number 72 on the calendar in the matter of Bowie versus Miller.
You may be seated.
According to this complaint, you two folks were engaged to be married. You made him some loans on your credit card. You broke up. Want your money? $1,770.
Correct.
So what was this money for? When did you loan it to him?
It was during the course of our relationship. We were together for about 3 years, and it was different things. But the point that I want to make is it was a total of $2,700 worth of debt. And he had been making payments while we were together with no problem. When
Was
I
that
broke
on
up
a
with
credit card?
it was credit card and also personal loan that I took out from my retirement plan for him to pay his IRS bill. So it was an accumulation of debt, and also part of that debt, less than 1%, $250 of it, was for wedding loss when I canceled the wedding.
How much was...
I charged him half for the reception hall, which was $100, and charged him half for the invitations order, which was another $150. So it's $250 of the overall $2,700 debt. So in addition to that, that's one debt. The other debt was a Mitsubishi credit card that I opened up for him that he charged a TV and a VCR for some business that he was doing. And he agreed to pay that up until August. He agreed to pay it August of 1996, which is when it would start having interest on it. He agreed to do that, no problem. Well, he was making payments on the $2,700 debt, and he stopped making payments when I broke up with him. The Mitsubishi bill, we had talked over the telephone a few times. When we broke up, I didn't hear from him for 2 months, and he wasn't making payments. But I want to kind of give you an idea of what my situation is. I'm a business owner, and at that time, I was having really financial straits. My mother was disabled at the time. I was taking care of that, and he knew about that intimately. So the payments he was making on the $2,700 debt was survival money for me. And then the second thing is he had CD.
Póngala.